Alright, guys. Hope you had a decent holiday. I wanted to cover a few things here. This is real serious topic, I believe. And I got to be very careful with my wording here, but the deadline for the jib jab in our military was I believe the 28th, and it is the 30th now, so a couple of days since the deadline. And I wanted to go through a few articles and kind of give y'all a little update on the situation. But I want to start this off by saying, like, when you join up, all these people right here, they sign away their rights to be here, right? Let me pull up a story, but these these soldiers, they're owned by the military, right? They don't have rights anymore. They sign them away when they join up. And look right here. Cadets sue U.S. Merchant Marine Academy over the jib jab mandate. 6 U.S. Merchant Marine Academy cadets. See, that's not a lot. You need more, right? And is it all the way going to go through? Trains midshipmen. Yeah, I had a coach that knew a few people that went here actually. Um, was never a requirement for attending the academy. It is simply unlawful and unfair to change the conditions of enrollment in the middle of their tenure at the school. Many of these cadets would have chosen different career paths had this requirement been in place at the time of their commitment to the academy. So this next sentence right here, different career paths if they had known to begin with. That's something I want y'all to keep in the back of your head as I go through this. That what's really scary is the percentages I've been finding of how many people have taken it versus who haven't in the military. And I was kind of hoping we would be more of a majority here, but it's kind of spooky. It's kind of spooky. Such a mandate that denies students an opportunity to serve their country shocks the conscience, violates constitutional rights, and not only should be not permitted, but be reinstated immediately to prevent irreparable harm. Okay. So we saw some of these pictures. It's our job to stand up for these people who they've already signed away their right to stand up for themselves, right? It's just like they're not choosing what wars they're fighting, right? It's up to the politicians. It's up to the people back home, right? They're fighting for us, and we have to take the responsibility of being sure they're fighting the right fights and that they're being protected and their lives aren't just being thrown away, right? we have to support our brothers and sisters here, We have to fight for them like they fight for us. Alright, here I wanted to get into just 5% of the Marines defy the mandate. And this is a very recent, November 29th, so this is yesterday. There's another one. It's like 40%, but it's from a year ago, right? So sure, people had more balls back then, but the time is running out. We're kind of going through it here. So let's see. Some of the troops who remain have either applied or been granted an exemption. To date, 14 service members have been granted a permanent medical exemption. 14. Dang. 316 have been granted a temporary medical exemption, and 452 have been granted temporary administrative exemptions. Additionally, 2,441 active Marines have applied for religious exemptions. None have been approved to date, and 1,902 of them have been processed. So this is going to be a common theme we see in the so many religious exemptions, right? And none of them are approved. It's in all branches. We're going to go through a few different branches here and a few different examples of this. And, almost all of them are processed. They're still dragging their feet processing them, but it's happening. And no one is coming out. They're not respecting your religion. It's mostly Catholicism, Roman Catholic, that gives you the exemption. One article goes over it's like some bishop or something gives you rights, but the Pope said no. He said no, man. We need to make a new church or something. Currently, 79% of the Marine Corps Reserve have received at least one dose, but they have a later date, the 28th, to become fully vaccinated. Okay, in the Navy, look at this. 99.7 active duty sailors have received at least one dose. So, when you don't take it, you can get in trouble, right? And they give you a few things to they counsel you a little bit, right? So there's like a paper trail of them, temporary, a year of exemptions, administrative exemptions. I've heard people say this is what you got to go for, but it doesn't seem like you can get any more exemptions from here on out. It's just a matter of like how long does it take for them to process your exemptions, and you can't get in trouble until they process your exemption. So let's see if we got any pictures from this. Get everyone lining up. Look at that. By the military too. That guy doesn't look too happy. Your boy right here. Okay. So, I've heard, no offense, but I've heard the more badass the troops, the less they want to take it. And here's a quote. "We generally have about 2,500 Navy SEALs," said Robert O'Neill, former Navy SEAL who claims to have killed Osama bin Laden in Operation Neptune Spear. "It takes time to get to certain levels. Hundreds are leaving because of this nonsense." And that's what I was saying earlier in the article, in a previous article, that people are either quitting, right, or they're just like, I'm not going to go through that charade. I'm not going to be subject to that. So I'm just not going to sign up in the first place, right? And I haven't found too much evidence for it, but I've heard people say that they're threatening that if you jump out mid training, like let's say you're in basic or you've gone a little farther than that, and you're not like a full blown soldier, but whatever, and you decide, nah, I'm not going to take it, I'm gonna quit. You have to pay for all of the training that you did, right? And sure, that might be, $100,000 for normal stuff, basic training or whatever. But for a SEAL, we're talking big, expensive training here. It could be $1 million, if not more, of the not quite yet Navy SEALs, but they didn't want to take it. You could really destroy some people's lives, right? They've got nothing else, so they're joining the military, and then now they leave and they have to pay this huge fine for leaving. You're between a rock and a hard place. There were similar results when the military mandated the anthrax jib jab, and I got an article to go over that too. Latest disaster just made all of us less safe. No legislation has been passed, but Biden is still taking criticism from those on the right, many of whom have military roots. Alright. So, the better your training, I hope you don't have to pay for it. Like I said, I didn't find too much evidence on that, but I've heard that's the route they want to take. Justice denied. Supreme Court again holds up jib jab mandates as U.S. veterans prepare for war. A lot of tyranny, right? A lot of tyranny. And this is the really unsettling part. Okay, so they made a video. They made a little documentary. And they write a few things. I don't want to read too much of it to, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to say and what I can't say. I want this video to get out there, right? To raise awareness. I don't want to say too much. If you want to look in, you can read it yourself. tapnewswire.com. But here, we have had enough. The line has been drawn. We represent every race, creed, and ethnicity. Your divide and conquer psyops don't fly here. We know how you tactically deploy psyops and stroke identity politics to silo off regional civilian populations into the smallest possible demographics to incite tribalism and make us fight amongst each other, while destroying us for being laser focused on you, the head of the snake. De oppresso liber. To liberate the oppressed. And it seems like the soldiers are being oppressed right now. And we need to liberate our troops, right? No man left behind. Guess in my life, I've seen us go back on that saying a few times, just leaving people in Afghanistan, right? That's what happened to No Man Left Behind. So, here's, for those of you thinking about whether you want to do it or not, and we forced it. It wasn't us, but they forced it in the Indian Army. And look, they fact-checked all this. You see Truth Meter 0, fake news, claimed by social media, But just go ahead and give this video a watch. So, the fact check here, right, so they were all forced to jab, and I remember when this video came out, and I believe this was like the next day, the day after, they were doing their morning run, and people were collapsing, right? It wasn't just out here, right? It was on the way, leaving the barracks, right? Just woke up and died. I woke up like this. See, there's a guy still in the bed over here. And so they're saying it's because they're overheated and they just passed out due to heat exhaustion, or I don't know. They're giving these people CPR, I mean, they're not fully naked, but they try to cool them off. I see that's why they kind of undress them a little bit. So, you know, if it's so fake, don't believe it, but it doesn't look that fake to me, man. Just considering that this was like the day after. This is what we're trying to stop, right? We don't want this to happen to our troops, right? These troops are being oppressed, and it's time to liberate them. Right here. This is the old article from, I believe, about a year ago. 45,000 Marines have turned it down. See, nearly 40% have turned it down who have had the chance to, right? And this was just a year before, so you see how they give it you a long time so they can really ramp up the stress on the consequences. They can let it soak in, so it's not just you quickly rip off the Band-Aid, you never have to worry about it again. They're coming at you every day, and even after, right? You got to go to counseling, and you got to meet with doctors while they explain to you the benefits of it, right? All right, here's Air Force. Elite 800 members of the Air Force, Space Force refused, and I believe I covered in a previous video. They were doing drills to, prepare for force jib-jab on the Air Force, and if anyone were to refuse that force jib-jab, and how we would, neutralize the situation. And it was some nurse, and she was complaining about it, like, we've never done drills like that before, and I'm not here to fight, I'm just here to, like, be a nurse, like, what the frick, So this is another example of, like, the exemptions, medical reasons, administrative reasons, but, no requests for religious exemptions have been approved. They're still just under review, right? Or maybe, that's only a fraction of them that are under review. The most of them have been disapproved. So just under 96% of the Air Force and Space Force members were fully vaccinated by the November 2nd deadline, so it was much earlier. So they're really weeding out the troops, right? If this is the majority of them, right, that is a, now the troops are going to be against us, right? They're going to do it to the troops first, and then they're going to come do it to you. Alright. Yeah. Deadline. Clash with troops who refuse. Air Force has discharged 40 service members and now preparing to address thousands of the others who failed to get it before the November 1st deadline. So I wonder if the percentages of the people who, if we're not taking into account the people that we discharged, right? If we take those statistics after we discharge. Okay. Largest group who remain unvaccinated appears to be those who applied for exemptions. So they're trying to do the legal route, but it hasn't always worked. 90% of the sailors have received it, followed by 97% of the Air Force, 93% of the Marine Corps, and that Army is also in the 90th percentile. The next deadlines for jib-jabs begin with the Coast Guard as well as civilian employees and contractors November 22nd, and sailors and Marines by November 28th. Alright. We got some few little cartoons. Yeah, I heard they were doing the propaganda on Sesame Street. Watch out for all that. Oh my god. Their body, their choice. Hundreds of thousands of troops have not yet complied as deadlines near. See, this was a month ago, in October. Right, they really push you. They stress you out. They stress you out and force you to get it. 90% of the active duty Navy was fully vaccinated. 72% of the Marine Corps. Jeez, I gotta be careful about what I say. So I believe this is maybe it's somewhere else. Look. So this is a film made by the military, right? Made by our vets, made by our troops. Film claims that over 3,500 soldiers have died from the anthrax jib jab. And it talks about like their legal immunity, injuries. I've got a previous article here that'll show. We talk about these people not getting any help, years later. Like maybe one or two was able to get some that dishonorable discharge taken away, but most of them, no. They still have the dishonorable discharge. And look, the video is unavailable, taken down. So, you want something to watch? Try to find this video. I'll try to find it for y'all too. It does, not just American law, but world law. You need to be aware of your rights, and you need to be aware of what you're putting in your body, right? You can't be nagging people about what they eat and, what's good and bad for them, and then you go and do this and you do no research. It's absurd. Okay. So, yeah, what happens if they refuse? It's down here. So, first step is they're formally counseled, effectively creating a paper trail for leaders to show they discussed a topic with a soldier. The Army already has issued a template for results. Then the service requires that they watch an educational video from the CDC and prevention, explain the science behind the, So they force you to watch some propaganda, right? Get their views up, it's re-education is what it is. Exemptions for pregnant women. Why do we have pregnant women in the military? I don't know if you can read these too much, but I probably shouldn't repeat them to y'all. It's gotta watch what I say. So this is the first counseling form that you gotta go through, and it's really just right. They're explaining to you the propaganda, and you have to agree or disagree, and you have to sign your name like 1,000,000 times. Yeah. It's just a paper trail. It's just more BS they push you through. Another, someone's getting paid to punish you, right? So we're just encouraging the system. Right, so this is something people went through in the past, right? There are previous examples that we can kind of relate to what's going on. I believe, what's got people more afraid, the anthrax or the jib jab, right? And we go down, and you'll see where people, they haven't really gotten much justice. the ones that did stand down to this, so many years later. 350 service members refused. He said dozens of them were court-martialed, hundreds left to avoid. 149 were forced out. Look, this one died of cancer. So that movie was like all about the troops and their side effects that they've experienced from all this, right? Just direct consequence of subjecting themselves to this, right? Look at these swole men right here. We're just taking them out of the picture. They're not going to be able to fight for us anymore if they get sick, if they're too weak, if their nervous system explodes or something. So, I believe this, the soccer in Europe is a real good example of some of the consequences in healthy, young, military-aged men of, they were all forced to do it, right, to play. And it's just over and over again you're seeing professionals, right? This is the big leagues, and they're dropping. I really got to say it, watch what I'm saying here, because I've made similar videos to this, and they'll get taken down. These are high-profile incidents, right? Barcelona striker Sergio Aguero, 33. That's pretty young, right? That's in his prime, or just around his prime. He had chest pains with this Icelander midfielder, Emil Palsson, 28. And it's not just them, right? It's actual doctors too. Here's another 28, Charlie Wyke, John Fleek, Adma Traore. These are young, 25. You see that? Yeah, they're scaring you, right? And so here's a really interesting point. So they want to blame it on all of us, right? But look, official press release reveals all those new strains were in the fully jib-jabbed, right? And that's what we see from, I believe, Israel, right? I think Ireland was pretty heavily, it was like 90%, and they're perfect examples of it, right? And the less jib-jab states and the less jib-jab countries have been better off with the rise in the variants, right? And why is that? The preliminary report revealed that all 4 had been fully jib-jabbed. Ooh. Yep. So there you have it. In Botswana, only those that allegedly had this new strain have been fully jib-jabbed, right? It's just, I heard someone say that whatever this new strain is called, I forget what they call it. I try not to pay attention to what they say, but it's you can rearrange the letters and it'll say moronic. Ha 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 ha. So flu rates, looking pretty nice. Flu rates going down. This is only like couple weeks, right? The flu season's coming up. 60, 46, 45, 46, 45. Activity minimal, low. I don't know. Does that mean it's getting worse? Pneumonia. You wear the mask for so long, you're gonna give yourself pneumonia. That's stop wearing those. Majority of exemption requests denied. Right. You know, it might hold you free for a little bit, a few days, right? But then denied. See, look, lack of jib jabs is why, right? But we've seen that from the study, the 4 people who got it had been yib-yabbed, right? Just come on now, come on now. So look, right now they're gonna start pushing the propaganda that it doesn't work as well. So now we need the boosters now. So even though we didn't know what the variant was and the boosters came out before, the boosters are gonna work for it, right? Because that's just science. You just trust the science, right? Because science, and it's magic, and you're too stupid to know how it works. So you just gotta trust what I say. These people hate you, right? These people want to hurt you. They're trying to oppress you. They're trying to genocide you. 60 to 90 days for a specific to be tweaked and approved. Okay. So they're just gonna give more, make more money, you know. Not financial advice or anything, but I'm thinking I'm gonna make a call order or something on Moderna, you know. Try to I mean Pfizer, you know, try to get a little more yum yums. But look, Moderna's the top right there. Alright, what does appearances of mean for the double yib-yabbed? You know, it basically means that you don't, you gotta take more. But this article, it kind of goes into, and I gotta be real careful with what I say, but the T cells here, right? You know, I'm not giving any medical advice, but your T cells that recognize and attack virus-infected cells, eradicate antibody-producing B cells. Your T cells will fight cancer, right? And they're not supposed to be programmed. They're supposed to be empty, you know, killer T cells. They're empty programs, and they come across something and they program to fight it. So, you know, the mRNA, it changes, it reprograms these specific cells to produce the spike protein, right? So it takes away your unprogrammed immuno response, which is very important, right? Especially when it comes to like keeping tumors down, and the whole cancer battle, right? A cancer will have less of a, you'll have less of a defense against it, right? And we've seen that cancer rates going up. I was trying to find some evidence for y'all. But I also heard about tumor rates going up too, right? That's like the same thing, huh? Hundreds of thousands of troops, but this is old, right? Look at this guy. So we got to stand up for our peeps here. We got to do what's right. I guess it's kind of late, but they're just gonna keep pushing this out, right? So, you know, maybe we didn't save them the first round, but this is gonna keep coming. This isn't gonna stop until we've made too much money off of killing everybody, right? Why are we using these cool, you know, powered injectors, right? hypodermic jet injection gun, right? Come on, where's our science? Why are we so primitive? Why are we using these? Look at that. Look at that. Why are we using these? Huh? Do you think we do not know what's going on? You released a bioweapon. Then you systematically shut down life-saving treatments, leading to millions of unnecessary deaths. You strategically censor doctors, nurses, medical experts, scientists, journalists, intel community members, and soldiers. I have actually seen quite a bit of doctors be killed over the last couple of years. Since I've been awake to everything and I started paying attention to researchers, and people die, right? Hundreds of doctors get suicided, right? Like suicided as in they're shot in the back of the head and it's called a suicide. Estimated 350,000 of our military service members are being dishonorably discharged for refusing to take a completely unnecessary and experimental, meaning I think it's proven that it works negative 71%, right? It works a negative amount, right? Trust the science, guys. Did not want it. So I gotta be careful what I say here, but I have a German doctor went over, and he said he used to work on. He's a chemist, right? And he was like the best in Europe, and he won awards and did all these contests and won money. But he got a job like leading the carbon manufacturing, and you know, the graphu blue blue blue. You know, I want to be careful how I say that, but he said that it's basically that we're calling it wrong. It's a hydroxide, and that the little particles are like mini razor blades. They're like chemical razor blades, and they come through and they chop you up. And the faster you run, and the faster you move around, right, the younger you are, the more your heart beats, the more those razor blades are flowing through your body, right, and tearing stuff up on the smallest level it possibly can. And that's why, like, the blood clots look so weird. That's why it's so hard to test for. He was saying, like, if you're just a toxicologist and you're looking at, their blood in a microscope, you're not going to see it, right, because it's not moving. You have to be pumping to move. It's not alive. They're razor blades. You know, I believe it's a little worse than that, but I do like his explanation. Here it is. It's this one, but it's in German, and I want to I'll probably translate it for y'all, and I gotta be careful. He says a lot of words that shouldn't be said, for the sake of censorship. But he seemed pretty well qualified, and he asked, look, Andreas Noack, and the thing was, he was killed after he said this, right? After he said that it's just a bunch of razor blades floating through your blood. Right here, within 24 hours of making this video, he was dead. Graphene hydroxide. He said we've been calling it wrong. It's not oxide, it's hydroxide. And that you can't find it. This explains the cardiovascular, and that it's not biodegradable, cuts and roughens your arteries and veins. This is partner talking. So I don't want to play these for you because it's so dangerous. I'll just get the video taken down, but I will try to edit it and censor some of the words he says. kind of figure that out. You know, it'll still, you can still read it on the screen, or maybe I'll translate it for y'all. But it is it's terrifying. It's truly one of the most important videos of this time right now. You know, that being said, we have to we can't give up the fight and waking up our brothers. You know, just because they took one shot, maybe they won't take the other one, right? Maybe we can stop them, and maybe we can put together some kind of treatment program to get it out of them, right? Maybe it won't biodegrade, but maybe we can make them poop it out if they eat some kind of magnetic clay, or take some kind of magnetic bath, and you can kind of pull it out of their skin. Yeah, I've actually seen surgeries of doctors who had just gotten it, right? And they take a magnet to their arm at the injection site, and they rub it there for a little bit, and then they pull that substance, right? I don't want to say it, the graphene hydroxide, right? They pull it to the surface, and they slit, and they are able to pull it out with the magnet, a chunk of just black, right? I have seen many examples of since it's so small, it won't show up. You can have it like in a clear vial, right? It's black when it's inside of you, but you're looking at it and it's clear, right? You can't tell. It looks like it's empty. It's so small, right? That's what this guy was saying. Like, the toxicologists won't notice it. Toxicologists can't find it or understand how it's killing people, right? They don't know how it works. And they don't know what to look for. So when people die, they're not, right? The autopsies are a little skewed here. Alright, please support my video, you know, like, subscribe. The algorithm is super against me. You know, the only way people find my videos are if they really search for it. And that's kind of what the YouTube's been telling me. They're not recommending my videos to anybody, so if you can share and, you know, get me around, that really helps. Peace out, guys.